Tavern, a popular bar on West 12th Street, has been in business for more than 8 decades.
The Norwood Tower downtown.
Raw time. Hello very much, my fellow Gothic scholars. In this video, I will take you through a couple of hallmark Gothic sites of Austin and explain how they remind me of the curriculum of our class. Firstly, we will become familiar with the Tavern, a sports bar down the road from ACC Rio Grande, known not only for its nightlife, but for also a haunting. Next, we will embark to Norwood Tower, known as the first office building in Austin, and we will discuss its Gothic revival architecture. There's gargoyles in this one. It's a pretty big deal to me. And lastly, we will end our journey with Secret October, an alternative store in South Austin, beloved by many, especially me, and how it supports the contemporary Gothic community in Austin. Hope you all enjoy. Built in 1916, the Tavern was first known as the Enfield Grocery Store. The architect Hugh Kuchny modeled the building after German pub house architecture of the early 1900s. The architecture of the Tavern really reminds me, it gives me insight into how the settings of certain Gothic stories we've heard about would look like, such as Dracula's Guest, which takes place in Munich, Germany, and then Nosferatu, which takes place in the fictional German town, Visburg. During the Prohibition era, it is speculated that the Enfield grocery store was a front for a brothel, casino, and bar, which was in the upstairs area, which is about right there. And then upon the end of the Prohibition era in 1933, the building would gain its current name and become an establishment dedicated to serving not just alcohol and food, but also air conditioning, hence the sign. Really cool thing about the whole air conditioning thing about the Tavern is that air conditioning was a relatively new amenity to the public around the early 1900s, and the Tavern was actually one of the first buildings in Austin to provide air conditioning, which is why it has a designation on its sign. I first came to know the Tavern for its infamous haunting. Their resident ghost, Emily, is described as a prankster spirit of the upstairs area. Emily reminds me of Sir Simon de Canterville from The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde, because both spirits are pranksters and are forced to cohabit with living people that have no intent at all of leaving anytime soon. During a 2003 renovation, a pair of shoes believed to be Emily's were uncovered from the upstairs crawl space. That is the same place that it is rumored that Emily's body was hidden after being brutally murdered. Emily's life and death remains shrouded in mystery, but most ascribe to the story that Emily was a daughter of one of the brothel workers during the Prohibition era and met her end at the hands of a person of political power in Austin who was a customer of her mother. It is speculated also that this political person in power killed her because she found out that he was going to the secret brothel, and if that information got out, it would not look good for him. While there is little to no historical evidence to corroborate the life and death of Emily, the haunting of the Tavern is inseparable from the establishment. When I first came here for my solo investigation of the third floor of the Tavern, I expected my stay to be for 10 minutes at least. I wanted to collect some footage and maybe even, open a line of communication between me and Emily. Keyword try. But I don't think I even broke 3 minutes up there. There was just a certain claustrophobic feeling that came with being up there, and I don't know if it's because placebo, and if you get up there, you just kind of what happened, affects you. It was just something otherworldly. It was a whole new ball game. I'd had one experience happen to me beforehand in my first visit to the Tavern, where whenever I would go up the main staircase, there was no cold spot, and then if I came down the staircase, there was a cold spot, and cold spots are said to be a big thing in here. It was really weird. Scary stuff. Here is some footage from that little 3-minute investigation. While scarce, I think it's very powerful in conveying how scared I was. Also, there's some evidence in there, but I think a lot of it can be debunked, but there's just some things, and you'll see some things that are just horrifying. There's something up here. Is that the cross? Oh my god, it is. Is that supposedly where they found her body? Oh my god, there's a horrible energy up here. Oh my god. It doesn't feel right up here. It's specifically right here. I want to play a game. Try to guess how many orbs are in the next videos.
There's not really much I can say about these besides just a big fat question mark, because some follow with like the panning of my camera while others just don't. And I don't remember wearing anything reflective on me. They're odd. And there's this. I don't know what that is, dog. I don't know what that is. I think the 3 minutes that I was up there made me realize I'm not cut out to become a paranormal investigator. It was too scary. Okay, anyways.
Since its debut in 1929, Norwood Tower has stood as the 16-story jewel of Gothic Revival architecture on West 7th Street. Now overshadowed by its modern successors, Norwood Tower was at one point the tallest building in all of downtown Austin. It was also known as the first office building in Austin, and, like the Tavern, is one of the first places to introduce air conditioning to the people of Austin. Commissioned by Ollie O. Norwood in 1925.
So I'm going to pause myself here. This segment style was something that I really wanted for Norwood Tower. I thought it was really important in conveying, what I was hoping to talk about. But because of foot traffic and, just the wind getting progressively worse throughout the night, I was getting more and more frustrated, more stressed out, and I believe that really bled into my performance for this assignment. And I did not feel proud of my work. I did not feel I put my best foot forward. So I'm going to try a different format for Norwood Tower. And so here I am on my bedroom floor, really trying to do this again. So picking off where I left in front of Norwood Tower. Commissioned by Ollie O. Norwood in 1925, architects Watt Harris and, I'm gonna butcher this guy's name, I still haven't found out how to pronounce it, Bertram E. Giesecke, Giesecke. But those two architects, they constructed the tower from precast concrete and featured motifs of Gothic Revival architecture. Gothic Revival architecture originates from 1740s England, when it was used to romanticize medieval era styles. So think like I just learned about this in my art history class. It's the oh my god, come on. St. Denis! Who was St. Denis? Okay, think of the Basilica of St. Denis before it got all the cool stuff taken away from it. And not to say the cool stuff isn't there now, but off the bat, it was very much like the first iterations of what would become the Gothic Revival style of the contemporary era. Basically, the reason why the Gothic Revival architecture could have been used, in my opinion, this is a pretty concrete reason why it was used for Norwood Tower, was because Gothic Revival architecture comes from the grand cathedrals of the Middle Ages. What is like the modern interpretation of grand cathedrals now? Skyscrapers, which is what Norwood Tower originally kind of was. It was an office building, but at the time it was like the largest building, tallest building in Austin. So it makes sense to have that Gothic Revival style in there. So like other examples of this that are in the more contemporary era would be Walworth Tower, say that 10 times fast, in Manhattan, and the Chicago Tribune Tower. Motifs of Norwood Tower that dive straight into the Gothic Revival architecture is its pointed arches, its quatrefoils. I don't know how to pronounce it. There's a lot of things I don't know how to pronounce in this segment. The gargoyles, that's number one for me. And one of my favorite parts about the tower, besides the gargoyles, is a rose clock face window at the very top. And that's why I picked it for this assignment, because I remember passing by it on my way to a hair appointment. I was like, oh my god, I'm literally Catherine Moreland right now, except I'm not in North Anchor Abbey, I'm at Norwood Tower, and I'm about to become a Gothic heroine. Other identifying features of the Gothic Revival architecture style that I also find in Norwood Tower, is this appearance of the picturesque, which is an aesthetic that delves into provoking feelings of terror and awe much like what we've heard about in descriptions of the sublime. And it's looking up at this building, it literally grabs your attention. Like when I first encountered Norwood Tower on my way to my hair appointment, I almost got into a car accident, I think, because it was very much like a, you know, it grabs your attention and it doesn't let you go until you fully accept it for how great it is. And just looking at it, like just straight up, when I filmed the segment originally, was just I can't describe it fully without just, again, saying you have to be there in person. The windows and the way that they are lined up in succession with one another, and there's just so many stories to the tower. It's 16 stories. It's very, like, it's an optical illusion. And it's just beautiful. It's awesome. It's my Alps. It's my Swedish Alps in Texas. I am not Victor Frankenstein, though. Another thing, too, I wish we had more towers like Norwood Tower. Everything that surrounds it looks so boring when it's there. Like, it makes everything else look so much more plain. I'm just going to end this segment with, if you haven't seen Norwood Tower, I would highly recommend that you do, so that you can feel like Catherine Morland for like 5 seconds had Northanger Abbey met her expectations, because that's how it felt for me.
Since 2004, Secret October has been a one-of-a-kind store in South Austin. It specializes in selling clothes, jewelry, pins, and much more that revolve around alternative styles, such as goth, punk, a whole just like myriad of things. It's really incredible. It is a value resource to a variety of people, especially those looking to support a small business without putting a dent in their pocket. Clothing isn't the only thing that Secret October provides to alternative communities. They're also known to host events such as Dark Ritual at Captain Quack's, which is next door. I've been to Dark Ritual. It's kind of like it's a free, all ages goth rave, basically. It's such a fun community. I remember going there and really just getting into goth like garb, like traditional goth garb for the first time, and it was the most incredible thing ever. Captain Quack's just has incredible food. So that's also a big plus of these events. I know they're also hosting a shoegaze sort of event. So like they really just, they go towards a bunch of different subcategories of alternative, and they're just so encompassing. And it's really delightful to see that, especially in the South Austin community, because I feel like we don't really have anything like Secret October in South Austin besides Aaron's Rock and Roll. And with Aaron's Rock and Roll, it's kind of gimmicky. Whereas with this, you know, you can actually get clothes, you can get pins, you can get patches. Patches is such a huge deal. Like, you know, before I knew about Secret October, I was buying patches off of Etsy and hoping to God that they were good quality. Here, you can actually touch the things, and they have so much. Like, for example, with stickers as well, they also have incredible stickers. I got this Susie and the Banshee sticker for like $2.99. Where else can I find that? Like, the prices here it's so accessible, and it's really a pillar of, you know, keeping the alternative community alive. Like, to preserve these communities, we have to have stores such as this that harbor those events where you can just come and be yourself and, you know, be proud of yourself. There's a lot of pride in, you know, and I, you know, as somebody who's relatively new to the goth subculture, I have only felt welcome by these events and these places, and it's really helped me explore who I am, what I like. Like, looking at different portrayals of the Gothic subculture, especially in Austin. Like, for example, we have Tiffy, also known as Teen Arena, from the public, I think it was a public access show in the 90s called Raw Time that would play in between music videos. It was just one of those cool, like, you call in, you know, you request music. They never play it, though, because, you know, that's just the gimmick. And I watch these reruns of Raw Time because I love Tiffy. You know, I love her comebacks and her style. Her style is amazing. And a big thing with these segments, including Tiffy on Raw Time, is when these callers weren't harassing her for being a woman or just making these sexually charged comments about, they were going after her for looking goth and having these piercings and wearing dark clothes and looking awesome, quite frankly. You're seeing that, and then, you know, we have basically, you know, the commercialization and capitalization of goth culture on sites such as TikTok. You know, it's a lot more accepted now, and, you know, people now, I don't think, really think about how much the people before that they went through so many things in order for goth to be so accepted now. Secret October is a great reminder as to how far the Gothic subculture has come, and how much of how much there is to celebrate about it, and how awesome it is. And yeah, it's a love letter to being goth. It's a love letter to being alternative, and that's what I think the store stands for, and I love it.
All right, we are back to here. Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that it was informative to you, and above all, I hope that you go and check out these sites because they mean so much to me, and they're Gothic, features and aspects, what makes them Gothic makes them so fun to go to and really sets them apart from other places in Austin. And also, a really cool thing about these two is that a lot of them are really historical, and delve, into, the roots of Austin. It's a real old Austin energy, which I'm a big fan of. So, yeah, thank you.
Firstly, okay, we're gonna just keep going.
This scared the shit out of me. It's right behind me, isn't it?
You know what?
Come on, hurry! Oh my god, Raven, oh my god!